Welcome to another ModFreakz installation / tutorial for modifying your controller. I've got here a set of ModFreakz buttons. Now these are buttons for the Gen 4 controller. However, this is a Gen 5 controller. So I'm going to show you once I get this taken apart what the difference is between the Gen 4 and the Gen 5 buttons. We're going to go ahead and get started. You're going to need a screwdriver, something small. These screwdrivers are not included with these buttons when you receive them. You're going to have to pick one up. Most people have a small Phillips laying around their house. You're going to start off by taking out the 4 screws in the back. Get all 4 of those out of there so we can access the internal guts, as you like to say. This is a very simple process. I've actually done a few of these now. Now let me show you something real quick. If you're not sure what generation controller you have, you can go to ModFreakz website at modfreakz.com/pages/PS4 models, and they have like an image there that has a bunch of numbers on it telling you what controller you have. But if you look where it says made in China, now there's a number right above it. You can see it here in this video, and you'll use that chart to look at that number, find your number listed on there, and it pretty much shows you what generation you have, so that you know you're ordering the right parts or the right shell or whatever you're trying to modify. But again, this is a Gen 5 controller, and these are Gen 4 buttons, and I'm going to go ahead and install them and see how they look. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open up this case after we get these screws out. You kind of have to apply a little bit of pressure to get that off there. Don't be afraid to break it. You're not going to break it. Just don't rip and pull on it real hard, because there is a ribbon in here which you actually detach next to the battery on the motherboard. Just pull it straight up and it'll come right out of there. We'll set that to the side. The next thing we need to do is remove this battery pack. You don't want this thing flopping around while you're trying to modify things, so make sure you grab it from the white plastic part. Don't grab it from the wire and pull. Grab it from there, the white plastic, and wiggle it side to side, pulling upwards until it comes out. If you pull from the wire, you're probably going to break your wire. We do not want you to break your wire. Now there's a screw right here in the center. You're going to have to remove that to get the internal guts to come out. When you take out this screw, it is going to pull up the battery's little holder. Set that to the side. But we're done with our screwdriver for now. Now, to get these internal guts out, it's really simple. But before you do, you have to remember you have a touchpad here. Do not just rip it out. You have a ribbon that's right here going into your board. It has a little plastic tab you can grab a hold of. You want to pull it in an upward direction. Pull it up like that so that it comes out of the board. That's going to release your touchpad. You do not want your touchpad to get ruined. And you should be able to pull your internal guts straight up and out. I'll wiggle it around here until I get it to release. I don't want it to make a liar out of me. I actually pulled the board right off the... What are you holding on to? Oh, might help that the ribbon came out, right? Ribbon was getting caught on the plastic there. Do not rip that ribbon, people. Push that ribbon down in there as you're pulling it up. It makes it come out so much easier. Now I done pulled this off of here, but it just rests on there. It's not gonna hurt a thing. See if we can get the line back up, because we don't really need that off. Should be good where it's at. Okay, so we're gonna get to this in a minute. I'm gonna show you the button placement first, because it's the simplest thing to do. You're gonna pull out all your buttons. You don't need to pull off your touchpad unless you're replacing that. But you're gonna pull these rubber things off to access buttons. You're gonna pull your buttons out. Don't need those. We'll put those to the side. I'm gonna pull out the D-pad. Get that out of there. And I'm not sure. I guess we could go ahead and replace the PlayStation button while we're at it. So we'll pull that rubber off and pull that button out. When I say the PlayStation button, when I say that, I'm talking about the button with the letter P on it. So we won't need those. Well, let's get into what we have in the bag. It's the ModFreakz packaging. It's not bad packaging. I like that. I'll pull all these buttons out, set the bag to the side. Let's lay these out and see what we've got. We've got our D-pad. We've got our normal buttons. We've got our PlayStation button right here. Another normal button. And another normal button. So I'm going to go ahead and get these inserted. I'll start with the PlayStation button. Put it down in there. Make sure you put your rubber pieces back down in there. They're actually, what do they call them? Silicone conducting or conductor pads. And put those back in there properly. And get our D-pad. Drop it down in. Real simple process. This is not difficult at all. Just make sure the black parts are facing out away from the buttons, and the part with the clear is facing down on the buttons. It's the black part that actually makes the connection to the circuit. Don't turn these upside down or anything. Just put them back in the exact same way you took them out. Knocked out. There we go. Okay, D-pad's in, PlayStation button's in. Now we're going to get our regular buttons in. Now these are designed a little bit different than the buttons themselves. These only have 2 tabs on them. I don't know if you can see that. And this one has 4. Don't really have to worry about that. They're going to fit properly. All these are the exact same. Just make sure that they're in there all the way down so that they fall into the hole. That's all that matters. In they go. Now the rubber piece, I'm going to get that back on there. Remember, you have to have it. Your buttons will not work without it. Make sure you push it down on little holes on the side there where these are actually getting pushed into. Well, make sure it's firmly pressed. So when you turn that upside down, them buttons do not come out. Alright, so that's those. This is done. We no longer need this piece until we are ready to pretty much put it back together. So I'm going to set that to the side for now. We're going to examine this. The first thing I want to show you is there was a modification done for the Gen 5 where these buttons here, which are the share and options button, it's this one here and this one here. These are actually one piece now. You cannot take those off. They're actually part of the whole internal gut housing, or whatever you want to call it, this whole plastic thing. They actually made it one whole piece, so we cannot replace these for the Gen 5. But the Gen 4 buttons still look really good in the Gen 5. So I'm going to show you. We're going to leave these ones alone, which ModFreakz does supply those buttons, but you won't need them for this generation. I mean, it's not going to work for Gen 5. It will for the earlier gens, So we're just not going to use these. We're going to set them to the side. And we're going to get working on the triggers, because those I do like on there. They look great. To get these triggers off, there's a little clip here, and you kind of have to push the button in and pull up on this gently. Do not pull too far or you will snap that. It's only plastic, guys. It's not like a piece of metal you can pry on. So you pull up on it until it comes loose. Then you kind of just wiggle the button up and it comes right off. Look how easy that was. Came right off there. Now once we get this off, I want to show you something. Let me show you the other one. These buttons do matter which one goes where. You can see right here there's a little knob or nub or whatever it's called, and over here there's one. We want the one that's exactly like this. This would be for the other side. So I actually want this one because it's identical. So this is going to be the one that I put on replacing this. So I no longer need that. Now I need to take this one off. To get this one off, and I believe it's the right bumper. That was a trigger. This is the bumper. They're kind of like clipped in here. Right there. There's like a little clip on both sides. You kind of just have to pull up on a little bit while holding this with your thumb. And just pull up on it on both sides, the bottom and the top. And when you get it up to this point, it's going to get stuck again. Just take and wiggle it until it comes off. And it comes right off. And again, with these ones, there is a little, let me show you the opposite one. You can see right here, there is a little clip, or a little nub, that's the same as on this one. You can see it right there. This is for the other side. We don't want those two yet. This is the right one, because it's exactly the same. Examine these. Make sure you're putting the right one on. So I no longer need this. I'm going to start inserting these buttons. Alright, and to do that, put them back in the exact same way you took them out. So, there's a little slot or groove right there, and you want to make sure that it goes in there properly. What you do is you line it up, push it in. Now this one is a little different. This one you have to push down in. There's like little, I don't know what you call it, like a pivot point. But you would want to match that up with the other pivot, the holes, the opening. Right there. And just push down on it. Get it to snap into place. Once that snaps into place, you push it the rest of the way down, guess what? It's on there now. It's as simple as that. Let me go ahead and do the other side real quick. It's no different. Pull that off. Wiggle this one off. So we got that off. Let's take off this other one. Same way, you just kind of wiggle it off there. It's not that hard. One side's off, then you take the other side off, then you do it again. That's off there. Put the other one back on. Should just slide right on there. No problems. Put the other trigger on there the same way. Put it on, push it down, and it's on. Alright, so we're going to put this back together. We are done with these. We don't need those. We'll set those to the side. We're going to put this ribbon back in that hole. Make sure you get it firmly in there. Make sure it lines up. And we're going to put this controller back together here. Should only take a minute. Push that back in there. Everything just snapped into place for me. That's kind of nice of it. Alright. And line this up, put it back where it belongs. I'm putting this on now, that way nothing's wiggling around on me. This one screw is going to hold the whole board in there. And get our battery pack. Make sure you get the connector lined up properly, the correct direction. Don't put it in there backwards. Push it firmly, make sure it fits. Put your battery packet back in. I'm going to take this strip where the metal connectors are, not the blue side. The blue side goes towards the battery pack. The metal side goes towards the rumble pack. So make sure you put it back in the slot the same way you took it out. Don't put it the opposite direction or your light bar might not work. I say this in all my videos. Always make sure you put things back the way they came out. Okay, and then we're going to line this back in here. Snap it back together, firmly in place. Get our screws. I think this is the most annoying part, is sitting here with a little tiny screwdriver, putting screws in and out. The rest of it's interesting. Like, I love modifying controllers and consoles, and that'll be some of our future videos. I'm going to show you how to properly put skins on the consoles. There is actually a certain method to do it, and they look great. I have one on mine, on my Xbox One at the house, and it's actually a wood grain, a little bit lighter than this table, but it looks awesome. It's just beautiful. Okay, so once we get this last screw in, the final step to all modifications is to test your controller. You know, push your buttons. God, that looks beautiful, doesn't it? Triggers work. Bumpers work. No problem with those. D-pad works. Bumpers are not sticking or nothing. PlayStation buttons working. And that looks beautiful. I like that. I should go and get a touchpad and change that out just to see how cool that would look. I bet you it would look good with a chrome touchpad. But overall, it's a beautiful controller. It's blue, it's chrome. Looks good. Feel free to like our Facebook page or YouTube page. Or leave us messages in the comments if you have any questions. Again, I will leave the link to checking your PlayStation controller generation on the ModFreakz website at modfreakz.com/pages/PS4 models. The link will be in the description so you can get to the website. And I want to thank you for watching.